Bend Around the Wind by Skylia. Chapter 12. Time is on my side. In the past days, both he and Stark seemed to decide that it was time to spend some time apart, lest they happen to murder one another because of a discussion of sorts. The human was obsessed with the technology their ship could offer and was content to do nothing but eat, sleep, and twiddle with it. It suited Loki just fine, since he also had important matters to attend to. Regaining his magic took more effort than just eating well and sleeping enough. It had been years since he had been so long without his magic, and on top of it all, he was at an unfamiliar part of the universe. No doubt the reason the other had taken them so far away from the 9 realms was to limit Loki's powers. Like that could stop it. He would only have to meditate and explore what cosmic energies this galaxy had to offer. He could not reach out to the branches of the Yggdrasil. But even though, unlike in the 9 realms, he was not on a metaphysical plane, he would make do. He knew well that the races inhabiting this part of the universe relied on technology rather than on magic, like Midgard, but that did not mean his powers had to be weakened. If anything, this should give him the greatest advantage. Those who only know the power of weapons and their guns would not be able to fight against him, although he did hear that shape-shifting was a rather common art among the Skrulls. He would have to confirm that in person later. He planned to forge some Alindor daggers first, but soon realized that they lacked some vital tools and materials for black work. They would need to make a stop and trade for some. It was something Stark agreed upon. Maybe he planned to forge a new armor for himself. Before now, he was not sure whether Stark would be to any use as a forger, but it seemed like he knew exactly what was needed. Loki was quite talented in forging blades, if he could say so himself, but armor was a different matter. Surely Stark could be convinced to lend some of his skills with the right incentives. It might take some time, though. So he could not work on weapons, but he could work on his magic. He sat on the floor in the room that he still shared with Stark, for some reason. It just made him uneasy to not know where the human was while he slept. The mortal was not likely to turn on him anytime soon, but Loki still liked to know where he was, just to be sure. He meditated, let his breathing even out, and his senses explore all that was around him. All the energy running through the ship made it hard to reach out to the space beyond. It required the utmost concentration. If he could not familiarize himself with the cosmic energy of the non-metaphysical part of the universe, he would be limited to his most basic magic. He knew others were more than capable to harness it, especially the Kree, so he would learn to do so as well. It was only a matter of time. He could feel it once he expanded his senses beyond the ship. It was there for the taking, and he would only have to learn how. It would not be a skill he could use if he returned to the 9 realms. Well, maybe on Midgard, as it was part of both worlds. Physically, it had its own place in the Sol system, while still being connected to the branches as of Yggdrasil. It made it such an important strategic point. Now that he could think about it with a clear mind, not consumed by pain, anger, and revenge, he was sure that Thanos never would have let him keep it, or he would have made Loki into a puppet king, a pawn in his hand, and that was no better than what Odin King surely planned in the name of permanent peace in Jotunheim. Born to be king, the king of a dead frozen wasteland of his concentration broke, and his senses lost their connection with the outside. His fists were clenched, and he was panting slightly. He closed his eyes and tried to clear his mind again, but it was to no use. He would be unable to try again until he calmed down. He stood up and walked over to the other side of the room, where they always kept some water on the table. His throat was dry, and he felt cold. He was almost sure that the water would freeze upon touching his lips. It didn't, but that did not help to improve his mood. Loki! He looked up and around, but Stark was nowhere in sight. Where? We do have an intercom, sounded Stark's voice again, and Loki realized that it came from one of the upper corners. It means internal communications. Stark clarified without prompting, so that we are able to talk with other parts of the ship, even from afar. Yes, I understand perfectly, Loki called. What do you want? You may want to come to the bridge. I am busy, he replied curtly. He was in no mood to be discussing things with Stark. It's important, trust me. Loki finished his water, then headed out. He would not be able to continue anyway. But still, it better be important. Make it quick. I have other things to do. Yes, sitting on the floor all by yourself. Real important, Stark answered. He had the D&I band on and did not look at Loki as he entered. Were you spying on me? Loki asked, irritation creeping into his voice. No, I just checked on what you were doing. So you were spying on me! Do not make it sound so bad, Stark told him, then finally turned to look at him. I got some bad news. Oh joy! Loki sighed and walked closer. Stark brought up some large displays and Loki looked them over. This is a map, he said. Yes, and what is wrong with it? Stark asked. Loki narrowed his eyes and looked again. Considering that we want to go to Earth, that is, the mortal added. It took Loki only another moment to realize what this was about. It's incomplete, he said. Bingo, Stark said. Loki only just noticed the tightly curled annoyance in his voice. We only have about half of the Andromeda. Beyond that, nothing. Blank. Not a speck of map. All right, Loki nodded. Does this have to be a problem? Do we need a map for navigation? Yes, we do, Stark said in a stern voice, indicating that this was not up for an argument. Look outside, he prompted. Loki turned his gaze towards the viewport and the stars blurring around them. Do you have any idea how fast we're going? Stark asked. I have a rather accurate guess, yes, Loki said. And do you know what would happen if we flew blind with such a speed? He asked again. Let me demonstrate. He continued and raised his two hands. This is the ship, he said, and clenched one of his hands to a fist. And this here is a planet we do not know exists because we don't have a map. He held out his palm. We're going so fast that it literally just appears out of nowhere. Our speed makes any sort of avoidance maneuver impossible, so the only thing that could happen, he hit his palm with his fist, is this. He finished. Clear. It would have been without the visuals, Loki replied dryly. Don't we have anything that would warn us in case we are too close to something? We do, but like I said, if we're going with this speed, it would be too late. By the time the sensors pick up on anything and warn us, we're already too close to avoid the impact. What can we do then? We need a map. Or maps, in plural. I have no idea. Stark rubbed his neck. Are there any regular trading routes or something between Andromeda and the Milky Way? Probably not, Loki replied. I am sure even Midgard would have noticed if there would be such regular traffic. That's what I thought. Well, we're gonna have to ask around. If we're lucky, we could find a map that has everything on it to the Milky Way, or at least some of it. If we're not, we could only go as far as our map, Loki continued. Or as far as our new maps go. We can also make smaller distances just with coordinates, if we can get them, but even with that, Stark trailed off. This could take years, Loki finished. They could get a map of the rest of the Andromeda, that was sure. But beyond that, surely there were routes towards the nearby satellite galaxies, but their home galaxy was very far away. Yeah, Stark agreed and finally took the DNI off to look at Loki properly. I mean, we could get lucky. I would rather not count on luck, but on facts, Loki told him. It is better if we stay realistic. Yeah, I would also not count on luck, Stark agreed. He seemed quite upset about the news. All the energy the new technology brought him diminished. Well, it is not like I have anything to rush back to, Loki told him with a shrug. Stark raised an eyebrow. You need not look so surprised. As soon as I am back to the Nine Realms, the Allfather will send Thor after me so I can be imprisoned and punished for my crimes. I am not too eager to return to captivity. Why are you returning at all, then? Stark asked. Because even if Thor manages to capture me, which is not a certainty, whatever punishment the Allfather comes up with will surely be an improvement compared to what the other and his master want to do to me. So you don't care that it's going to take this long, the human stated. We will arrive back eventually. I care not how long it will take. It makes no difference. It makes a difference to me, Stark snapped. I have people waiting for me at home. I have friends, my company, my whole life waiting for me, and I have already been away for probably a year. Are you trying to appeal to my humanity? Loki asked. It did not work last time. Last time I threatened you, Stark answered, and Loki smirked. It does not matter whether I care, he told the human. It is not like I can change this and make us reach our destination sooner. Stark sighed and leaned back in his seat. Yeah, you're right. It's just, I could finally see myself going home. And now it slipped from my hands again, back into some distant dream that only one day will come true. It doesn't seem real anymore. Fret not, Loki told him. It will not change a thing. With that, he turned to leave. Surely you have plenty of things to occupy your time with. Stark said nothing and let him leave. Stark found him in the kitchen, quite a long time later. The human grabbed some food and sat down across from him at the table without a word. They sat in silence for some time. Loki waited. Stark obviously wanted to speak, so he should do so without prompting. So, I guess you're right. I am always right, Loki said. What am I right about now? There are things I could occupy my time with. I mean, yes, it sucks. Really sucks that this may take this long, but maybe they think me dead. Maybe they're still looking. Whatever is the case, I know things are relatively fine on Earth. Loki did not comment, and Stark continued. I am not the only one on the planet who's good at kicking the butt of bad guys, so while they're obviously not as awesome at it as I am, they will be fine. Stark, why do you think I care? Just let me finish. Loki rolled his eyes but went back to eating. Stark continued. My company will be fine. According to my will, everything will be under the control of someone I trust. My tech, my suits, everything. So while they probably think me dead, they will be fine. Are you going to reach your point sometime today? If this is going to take this long, I just have to do something productive, or I will go crazy. So I might as well start working on everything I planned to work on. A lot of tech to explore. And what does this have anything to do with me? I want to build a workshop, and I'm going to need your help with it, since you're the only one here. I don't even have an AI to assist me. Loki regarded him with a thoughtful look. And what would I gain from this? It's for science. Loki just glanced at him again. Okay, fine. You would probably also benefit from whatever awesome tech I come up with. Are you going to try and rebuild your armor? Loki asked. If I can. Tony shrugged. Not sure I have all materials. Not now, anyway. I may have to come up with a completely new design. And you plan to use Alindor to make it? Well, you said it's light and strong. Sounds good. I'm going to have to make some tests to see if it's as good as the gold titanium alloy I've been using. I don't know yet. I need to have a workshop and build equipment before I can get anything done. I may need some Alindor equipment as well, Loki told him. What, you want a horny helmet? Stark asked with a twitch of lips. We can discuss the details later, Loki told him. But if you require my help, then you should give me something in return. Surely some basic armor to protect myself better is not too much to ask for. An armor which you will enchant. Naturally, Loki said. Who knows, maybe I could be convinced to put some on yours as well. No thank you, I don't want magic anywhere near my deck. Never say never, Stark. Loki smiled. Fine, we have a deal. Stark said. Basic armor. Not a full plate armor, of course, Loki said. Chest plate, fan braces, some under armor. Horny helmet? Stop it! You have got to be used to horny helmet jokes, Stark said with a smirk. Loki just gave him an unimpressed look. Stark nodded again after a moment, and Loki went back to his food, pleased how easily they came to an understanding. We should name the ship, Stark said suddenly. Why? Unnamed ships are bad luck. Or so I heard. I thought we won't rely on luck, Loki remarked. It can't hurt. Stark shrugged. Any ideas? I care not. I'm gonna call the ship Bob if you don't give me some input here. Loki huffed. Fine. I assume you have some ideas? Well, I'd say that since we sold the ship together, we own it like 50-50, right? So we could half of the name should be something about me, and the other half can be something about you. You're ridiculous! Stark ignored the remark. So I was thinking iron is a pretty good prefix to anything. How very predictable, Loki remarked. I'd be glad I won't go with Stark, he said. Now, obviously, we won't use your name or any title like God because it's just too pretentious. And we are such humble creatures after all. Yes, indeed, Stark said with an amused tone. Maybe something with magic, because you're a sorcerer and all. Mage! What? I am a mage and not a sorcerer, What's the difference? Sorcerers are usually seers and healers. They require magical artifacts and trinkets to aid them. I am well capable to cast any spells without the use of scrolls, books, or runes. And I am a warrior, not some wrinkled old bore who wears robes and spends his life in dusty libraries. Got it. Mage then. Iron Mage? Loki sighed again. Do what you please. I like the sound of it. I care not, Stark. I take that as a yes, then. The human said. He stuffed the rest of his food in mouth quickly and got up to drink some water. We can start on the workshop tomorrow, Stark said as he was leaving the kitchen. And we should name the plane, too. He called back just before he vanished. Loki sighed again. By the Norns! Will he really be forced to spend years with this man? Endure his useless chatter day after day? If he did not need him for as many reasons as he did right now, he would surely lose his temper and murder him long before they reached Midgard. Stupid human!